Good morning. It is Sunday at sunrise. I am Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer at Bryan Financial Group, the home of AfroEconomics. Thank you for sharing your Sunday morning with me. It's Sunday at sunrise. We're talking about getting to the soul of your money, keeping joy front and center of our financial decisions, knowing that we can allow God to stay right involved there. It is amazing how many financial decisions that we make without proper counsel. And you can be the person who includes God in all of your decisions, and then when it comes to your money, you just become so jacked up. You're like, whoa, what made me decide on that? So today, I thought that we could talk about, you know how they have that WWGD, what would Jesus do? Well, today it's also about that. What would God do? Financial management, what would God do? And it was really, challenging for me to say, okay, yeah, I'll approach that because, that's such a strong statement because how do we know? So how exactly do we really know? All we can do is base it off, the word, our personal relationship with God, and then move forward from there. But it involves us making sure that we develop that personal relationship with God and that we take that time out, even if it's Sunday morning at 7 a.m., to think about God in your financial decisions. That this book, the Bible, is just as important, more important in our financial decisions than this book. And this book wouldn't be complete without chapter 5, which goes to this much bigger book. We have actual verses that I believe are helpful in our financial decisions inside the soul of our money, the 5th principle of AfroEconomics. I will give you that section with the scriptures written out absolutely free. Just email me at jb@afroeconomics.com to get the complete chapter of the Bible, using the complete chapter of the Bible, the complete chapter of the book, which refers to biblical verses in your financial decisions. Good morning to everyone that's logging in on the webinar, and everyone can do that. And the webinar participants are given a unique opportunity, and it's absolutely free to everyone. Make sure that you register for the event so that I can actually interface with you. You can chat with me, and we can even have a deeper relationship in how we both grow together. You can also communicate with me this morning by calling 1-833-ASK-AFRO. If you have any questions or any praise report that you would like to share with us, make sure you do that. Good morning. Good morning to the Clintons. Good morning to the Youngs. Good morning to BB Booker. That's right. Good morning to Jackie. Good morning to Kathy. Good morning, you all. And it's impossible for me to acknowledge those of you also that are on the telephone but are taking advantage of the call-in. But let me just say, I bet that gracious lady is one of our callers this morning. Good morning, gracious lady, and I'm glad that you got in. If you ever have any technical challenges to getting into anything, especially the members, we have our members only, and our members only, the meetings on most Fridays. I have in December one that's coming up on a Monday evening because my daughter's birthday is on a Friday, and we will be in the air flying on that morning of December 7th. So I thank God for you all, and know that we will, be meeting earlier that week and in the evening. And it'll be interesting to see, because having it every Friday morning for someone is inconvenient. But we're talking about financial management. What would God do? What would God do? How do we at least have some major things that are easier or just are easy defaults for us to think? I feel that one, we can know that Jesus would want us to know that God is the source of it all. Repeatedly through the Bible, Jesus made reference to his Father, to God, knowing that that is the source of everything. God is the source of it all. That the root of any decision, of the root of every aspect of our life should be based on our relationship with God, that we cannot leave God out of our financial decisions. I know that over the Thanksgiving holiday, it was very important for me. It has become very important for me and my daughter to make sure that we feed other people, on each holiday. So it's been about, 3 years now that on our Thanksgiving and Christmas, but we had one Christmas, unfortunately, that my baby was sick. But if we're both healthy and doing fine, not yesterday, but on Thanksgiving this past week, we fed over 12 people. So, it's important for, and we took it to the homeless shelter. But guys, I feel that it wasn't really as much about them, but it was about my relationship with God, knowing that every day that I eat is just because of his grace and mercy, and acknowledging to myself that he is the source of it all, and that I can give it all away, and that it is only God that can bring it back to you. And in Philippians chapter 4, verse 19, it says that God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory by Jesus Christ. Right? Proverbs chapter 8, verse 22 and 21, I lead in the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of judgment, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. He fills the treasures, not my wonderful financial decisions of what to do with what you save, but it's God's grace and mercy. It is so amazing. And that's why, we do our best. My investment portfolios have done very well, but that is only because of God's grace and mercy. I've seen it. I've seen the hardest of times. Now, I don't even know if it's the hardest of times. I've seen hard times. And because of that, I know that he is the only source that gets you through. The only one. I've had times where it's like, what am I going to do, Lord? Do you still want me to do this? I mean, think about it. I've been in business since 1995. So God is able. This is from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 8. God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that ye always, having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work. Yes. So we should look to God, ultimately, of our source of all things. A second point, if you think about financial management, what would Jesus do? I believe, and what would God do? That God wants us to be generous, right? In Luke chapter 6, verse 38, give and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over, shall men give unto your bosom. For with the same measure that ye would gave, it shall be measured to you again. Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 23. One purpose of tithing was to teach the people of Israel to put God first in their lives. So let's make sure that we continue to think about like what we do. You know, however you decide to give and be generous, and know that God is the source of it all, correct? Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruit of thine increase. So shall their barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst with new wine. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 9. No, give. We can't give enough. We cannot give enough. We can't. You know, yesterday I said, I have to give more. I have to give more. I want to make sure that I close this wealth gap that we have. And I was like, by making, you know, some people cannot afford a membership. I was like, how do I do this? And yesterday, I'm telling you, I established a free membership. I want to be so generous, and I called it the No Excuses membership. No, and I only have limited time. So we have membership levels, of course, that are going to be able to spend one-on-one time with me. But for people who have more time than money, the free membership is for them. They can go and do the video library. They can go and they can participate in more. They can get more things, you know, they can. But as far as the one-on-one membership, everyone doesn't need that. Everyone doesn't have a work benefits program. So what about them? And God said, set up something free for them so that when they do have more money than they have time, then they can upgrade and they can get into the other programs. But until then, we'll support them and allowing technology to help me to serve them. I want to give more. I want to pour it out. I want to die on E. He didn't expect us to be worried, you know, and dying on E in good measure. That does not mean dying broke. I rebuke the very thought of not, because he said that I will have everything that I have and that I will be able to pass on to my children's children. That means your money is long. My money is long. We have to speak that. My money is long. My children and your children and our children's children will be talking about AfroEconomics together and watching these videos and expanding on these things. Financial management, what would Jesus do? It is wise to save. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. There is treasure, that's Proverbs 22, verse 3. There is treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it up. Proverbs 22, verse 20. Come on now. It is wise for us to save our money. Put some money away. Save 20% of what you make. The less we care about what other people think, the more you are able to save. I'm telling you, we're living in a world where the biggest fear that people have is the fear of what other people think. So that means that the fear of what other people think is impacting your decisions in life and impacting your financial decisions. That means that some people are buying homes that they really don't need, with rooms they'll never even sleep in. There are people who are buying cars that will cost them way too much to maintain, and they don't even need it. I'm going to tell you honestly, the richer you get, the less you will care about things that depreciate, and the more you will focus on things that increase in value. Things that increase in value. Your generosity and helping others is priceless. Your children seeing you being generous will pay off for generations. It is wise to save. It is wise to live below our means. The word also says that he who takes not care of his own is worse than an infidel. It's disgusting. The things that people are doing, not taking care of their own kids. It's disgusting. It says you're worse than somebody that doesn't even believe in God at all. You don't have to worry about people being punished by a court system. That will be addressed by God, because you will get through. If you focus your financial decisions on staying righteous, your life choices on staying righteous and staying close to God, then everything will be, if you stick to God's plan over your life, no matter what anybody does to you, you will come out on top. He will make your enemies your footstool. I have lived to see it. They will be the ones who promote you. Another financial principle of financial management, what would Jesus do? Do you remember Jesus having any debt? The wicked borroweth and payeth not again. Psalms chapter 37, verse 21. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again. Every time you borrow, we're losing a portion of our freedom. You are now answering to another entity. Everybody you owe, every institution you owe, owns a little piece of your mind, if nothing else. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. It's real. We see, the word does not refer to, I don't know all of it, but I don't know of any part that says that, Jesus couldn't afford this, so he went and borrowed this, and he had to pay back the people, and, he was avoid going to that city because he owed them money, so he couldn't do his ministry over there. I don't remember that. Yes. So as sorrowful, yet always rejoicing, as poor, yet making many rich, as having nothing, and yet possessing all things. As sorrowful, yet always rejoicing, as poor, yet making many rich, as having nothing, and yet possessing all things. Isn't that sad when you think about it? 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 10. I'm feeling that. You see broke people, just always celebrating and happy, but, they're poor, and acting like they have everything, So we have to be very careful at using debt as a opportunity to look a particular way and present ourselves a particular way. And you see it all the time from an AfroEconomic perspective, where institutions will use materialism to motivate us and debts. I don't know if you've seen the Credit Karma commercial where the brother goes to a class reunion and he's still driving his old hoopty. And, everybody's looking at him like, you ain't nobody. And then a couple of years later, he comes back to the class reunion. He got his credit together and he gets a car loan. He gets the girlfriend that becomes his wife that used to date his enemy. They go through all of this in the commercial. But the bottom line is the brother probably has less net worth than he had the last time. They're not addressing the fact that now he's driving an asset that is probably underwater. I mean, he bought this new car, but the old car probably had more value than the new car because he probably owes more than the new car is actually worth. So they're promoting this attitude where that's not what God would do. I do not have to get my credit together so I can impress this woman so that I can go in debt and then I can walk in front of that guy I don't like with his ex-woman and show off. You know, acting like you possess all things and you don't, because that's not in tight relationship with God. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to do that. And if you can get through your life without ever doing it, the better off you'll be. I mean, I used to have people that were on full attack of me to make me go out there and they said, you know, and you have to be very careful where a person's relationship with God is, the people that are whispering in your ear, because they were saying that, you know, you need to drive such and such a thing because this will show people that you are in such and such a situation, you know, that make you look richer, like the commercial was saying in the Credit Karma commercial. Be careful. It doesn't matter. You want to make sure that you are impressing. You want to impress somebody? Impress God. Impress God. You don't want to impress this world, which is overwhelmed in debt and is a slave to the lender, the majority of people. And also, do things decent and in order. You want to know financially, what would Jesus do? He would do it decent. Through wisdom is a house built, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. Proverbs chapter 23, verse 23. Precious and pleasant riches. Wisdom. Do it in order. Be wise. That third principle of AfroEconomics, knowledge. Proverbs is hitting it right there. Being in order. The fourth principle, organization and planning, right? Gotta do this. So make sure that we realize, you know, with each of our financial decisions, is this in order? Is this right? Should I really be buying this? Should I not be saving? Should I just be, you know, getting this, you know, a 100-inch flat screen and not saving for my future? Should I mean, even think about in order. Some people want to set up a college fund for their children before they set up a proper savings for their future. The greatest thing that you can do for your children is not be a burden to them. Financial management, what would God do? He will work hard. It's cool to work hard. I mean, hey, I'm biased about that, but I just truly believe, you know, working hard, being smart, addressing things, giving yourself time to establish ideas, great knowledge, working hard could mean just reading a book at least once a week, learning more about what you do. I do all of these things because I want to learn more. I'm sharing with you what I've studied. That's it. Proverbs 14, verse 23. He that tilleth his land and shall have plenty of bread. You got to work. But he that followeth after vain persons shall have poverty enough. Proverbs 28. Actually, Proverbs 28, verse 19. That's it. Proverbs 14:23 is, in all labor there is profit, but the talk of the lips tendeth only to poverty. Come on. Just talking, but they ain't not walking. Make sure. In the beginning, God created. Genesis 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created. It's work. We got to work. We got to create. We got to build. Just think about that. Come on. And finally, God would want you to seek wise counsel. Why? Because God sent Jesus here to put in work. God sends ministers here to put in work, to counsel us. Jesus counseled us. He showed us how to live. That was it. Jesus said, I'm going to show you the way. We're working on being Christ-like. That's the goal. So you have to seek wise counsel. How can you learn to be like him without following someone who's like him? Right? So that's why we study and we read, because we really want to get as close to God himself. We want to get as close to Jesus himself as we can. So we want to, read from what his soldiers said about him, read from, just read recollections of God and what he did. Because at first, in the beginning, God created. Seek wise help. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Be careful who you follow. That's Psalms chapter 1, verse 1. Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 32. Maybe that's why I was called to encourage that no excuses membership, for them to get online, for us to get online and learn more. No excuses. So if you've got a friend who has been telling you, and you've been telling them about AfroEconomics, and they haven't done anything, you tell them about the no excuse membership. It's not going to be on the level of yours where you're getting the financial management software and you're getting the risk analysis and things like that, but it's going to certainly get them started. They've got to go out there and make an effort, till the soil, so that their seeds will start falling on something that they can take root in. But we got to work. My goodness. In the beginning, God created. What are we creating on this earth? My sisters and brothers, let's make sure that we realize that today is our beginning. I don't care what age you think that you are physically, spiritually, this is just the beginning. That's the way God sees us. He gave us one more day, one more moment, one more opportunity. Let's make sure we maximize it. Nothing worse than growing and living in a life of regret. It's got to stop. Don't allow that to happen. When you make your financial decisions, you say, what would God do? What would Jesus do? Don't ask, what would this salesperson want me to do? You gotta do what is appropriate for you to live the life that God promised you of precious and pleasant riches. Have a wonderful day. Please email me, jb@afroeconomics.com, if you need me. Have a wonderful week. Let's make it beautiful. God bless you. And I'll stay up here for just a second. So if you have any questions in the chat room, go ahead and ask. Thank you. You all have a wonderful day. Check out AfroEconomics.com and all of the events coming up. Make it a blessed day.